if I didn't get my if I don't get my live money and you fold, then I'm going to be furious.
I think he played for West Bromwich Albion, so that shows the levels. So you got to start there.
The whole way that Lookman has been covered over this thing has been shocking, really.
One thing I think Chelsea fans should be excited about is the fact that they got some young talent there, right? Hello. You're watching Not For Clicks, the pod for unfiltered views, and there's just two of us today. I was going to say Dream Team G, but there's you. So Dream Team plus one. G, how you doing, player?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to going to all the funny places next year in the Conference League.
What's your geography skills like?
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible.
I mean,
but hey, some new places to go on holiday. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Well, let's get into it, G. Tell the listeners, for anyone that's been living on Mars, why your European landscape has changed for next season.
Well, because Man City bottled it in the FA Cup final. Didn't show up. Clearly, either on the beach, in the bar, one of the two. But in all seriousness, United really came and had a good game plan and executed it well. I've been telling George for a while when he doesn't want to listen, but I don't think this City are as formidable as they've been in the past. And United took full advantage, and credit to them. I mean, not a lot of possession, but they knew they had a game plan. They executed it well. And yeah, you're now taking our place in Europa League. It's funny to have something that I didn't really want in the first place. I mean, you get it and you're like, okay, this is great now. We're in Europa League. It saves our season. Just for it to be dashed away is a little bit.
Gee, don't be harsh. You know, you haven't. It's not dashed. You've still got some European hope. You know what I mean? It's just.
I did not want to be in the conference.
It's the, as Ollie would call it, it's the Rumbelows Cup of Europe, right? Like
the Vauxhall Conference League.
And whatever happens, if you did win it, West Ham will be able to tell you that they won it first, which is always also.
I'll tell you what though. I said in the group. If we go on to win it, I don't care who we're playing against. We could be playing against a bunch of farmers. I will celebrate shamelessly, as I'm sure you have no doubt.
Well, who's actually in it? Because I don't know. Fiorentina are the only team that I recognise, and yourselves, that I recognise straight out the gate. Is there anyone else of note? Because if not, then you should be winning it.
No, I saw like Brondby have qualified.
Villarreal are in it as well, right?
Villarreal, that's a good team. I mean, look, there's no guarantee. This is a completely different Chelsea team. There's no guarantee that we'll just rock up there and win it. But yeah, we should win it, and I hope we do. But there's also I don't know whether there's any credence to it, but I'm hearing about Ineos because of their ownership thing. There's a slight chance that you might have to kind of withdraw from the Europa League.
Do you know what?
So if that happens,
the level of livid I will be if that happens, right? and it's not. You know me well enough to know I'm not like a Europa lover. Oh, Europa, blah blah blah. But City are part. Like, let's have pick no bones about it. City own Girona. Like, there's City's fingerprints all over that. And I think they're in Champions League. I think they made Champions League, or at least in qualies. So look at City before you come to us, or we're just going to add 116 charges. Are you going to turn a blind eye? Like, I know Ineos have got a dabble in Nice, but I'm really not concerned. Like, City's got to get done before us if that's the way it's going to go. You know what I mean?
Look, but City are part of the money team, Marv, so they can't be touched.
Are you part of the money team?
Yeah, we are.
Then I don't want to be part of the money team. if the
You're not welcome.
Yeah. We like to make our own money rather than embezzle it or steal it from countries that then I inadvertently go to war with later. That's just how I roll, G. I don't know about you. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? We digressed a little bit. Let's just bask. You kind of like glossed over it. You know, we executed the game plan. We beat City. Arsenal bottled it. We went and done it. And let's just take stock of the season, G. Like, let's not play about with it, right? We had a terrible season. The season was terrible, but when you look at the accolades, Klopp's farewell grab after we'd done them at the FA Cup, You man. Oh, Poch turned it around. Europa. Conference League. Done that too. Newcastle, who I've never liked since Keegan days, never liked him. They're going to be home all week until the weekend. Right? And then City, no double. Plus, I can say to the Arsenal man, what you lifting? You ain't lifted anything. Like, at the end of the day, G, we're here for lifting. Right? And 8th is a terrible... It's probably... I think it might be our worst league finish since, like, the Premier League form. But FA Cup, Europa... Now the people that like to see a good story at the end are calling for Hag to stick around. I'm kind of on the fence with that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I have to say, last time I spoke to you, your attitude seemed to have softened, and you were talking about injuries and the difficult season that Hag has had. Like, does Hag deserve another year?
No. The best I could give him is till Christmas. And he's got to show me something. But if I'm honest, if tomorrow the news breaks Hag's gone, I'll be sad for him because he had a bad run of injuries and a bad run generally with the Greenwood drama, the Sancho drama, like drama. But I just can't get away from the performances, G. I think maybe out of the 50 plus games we played this season, I may have missed 3 or 4. Some of them I was there live. And some of it was, 95% of it was utter, like, horrific football to watch. And I just can't get away with it. And even the game like Wolves, Coventry, where you thought, okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy, it got squeaky bum time. So, I can't get away from that. And I know we've had centre-back issues, and I know how much of a difference Martinez makes, but I can't get past that. If they give him to Christmas, he's got a fully fit team, and there's some investments because there's some positions we direly need to replace some personnel, especially with the likes of Varane going. I won't be mad at it, but my preference would be a clean sweep. The rumour is, though, that it's us, man, that paid for De Zerbi's comp, and we're just waiting to let the hysteria of the FA Cup win die down before we pull the trigger and bring De Zerbi in. Now, that would be a bad outcome. Like, De Zerbi might give me an electric season, but he reeks of Conte-like Italian, like, spontaneously combust after 2 seasons sort of vibe if things don't go his way. So we'll see. But you know what? We're FA Cup winners. What did you and G? You won nothing. I hear Arsenal fans telling me that the Community Shield's a cup, which is the definition of shameless. Like I said to them, unless you're a cat, you can't drink out of it, right? Like it's not a cup, right? So all in all, it's a silver lining to what else was a terrible season for us. So that's how we're gonna roll.
Yeah, at the end of the day, people only remember the winners, and Arsenal won nothing. I mean, the debate is going around about who had the better season. Like maybe I'm just old school, but I can't say Arsenal had a better season than United when there's no silverware at the end of it.
Well, I think Arsenal. Well, let me be clear. In terms of performance, Arsenal overshadow us by a landslide. I mean, you look at the record in terms of goals conceded, goals scored, wins, all of that. But I think the only thing they actually have over us is the fact they qualify for the Champions League when it's all said and done. And are they going to win it? I don't think so. So, congratulations to Arsenal. A good certificate for participation here. But at the end of the day, and you know what I love, G, and there's not many things I loved about United, but I saw United say we just don't think the FA Cup is serious enough to do a parade over, so we're not rolling with that, and I like that, G. That's classy. You know what I mean? Arsenal would have definitely done a parade for FA Cup.
Oh, I also have done parades for FA Cup. I remember.
We'll share with
there and Jack Wilshere. Yeah, get out of it.
So I like that about us. That was classy. So yeah. We'll see what the summer brings. But if Hag's still there, I'll be peeved. If he's gone, I wouldn't mind it. So we just have to see how it plays out.
There were rumours on the morning about Hag being replaced. And we talked about how David Moyes was treated. If it is true, are you a little embarrassed by how United treated Hag with that everything on that FA Cup final day?
It's the leaky bucket, right? So you gotta make moves before you sack a man. right? Like this whole what's the thing, like, sack him, then scramble around and get someone. Like, I get it, but you got to make moves before you sack a man. And like, let's be clear, no FA Cup win, he's gone. He's 100% gone. But I think when I say leaky bucket, I just think the crux of it is we needed to keep that to a very small circle and keep a lid on it, right? Now, the fact that rumours started bubbling like Wednesday, Thursday, I think Goldbridge even tweeted, or big news coming out of United, like it looked very bad. But I'm not annoyed at the fact they were making moves, because let me tell you, G, I would have wanted his sacking to be announced like at full time if we didn't win. But I get the fact that it's poor form. Like 90% of the questions that he had after the final weren't congratulations on the win. It was more like, are you gonna get sacked? And that's terrible. Although I saw a bit of chest though, G. You see it? If they sack me, if they sack me,
I'll go with you because that's what I do. You know what? I liked him. He went up in my estimation after that.
It went up in my estimations, but from a very, 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 very low bar, right? And actually, that sort of bravado in chest is what I needed at some of the press conferences where he was. There's no other way to say it. Where he was quite frankly shameless. So that's where it is. That's where it is.
So who, if you had a choice and you could have one of these people back at Carrington, one of these people back at Carrington after summer, Greenwood, Hag, or Sancho, who are you taking?
But Hag is third by a landslide. Hag is third. Like, I'd sack Hag right now for both of those guys back. And there's some people that will say, Marv, Sancho didn't do anything. He didn't do it in a Man United shirt. But, I'm a man for second chances. The man's in the Champions League final. What's Hag and crew doing? Watch it. You know what I mean? He had one of the, I think it was the quarterfinals where he had an outstanding performance as well. So, as far as I'm concerned, it would still be Greenwood, right? Greenwood would be number one if I have that. And to be honest with you, I don't think Greenwood's a choice. The loan's finished. Come back. Let's see if we can sell you, or you sign a new deal, right? Like, I think that's guaranteed. But look, I don't want to get into his legal ramifications, and any females into the pod or anyone that's against the heinous crimes he was accused of. I totally understand. But at the end of the day, in the eyes of the law, there was no charges to be answered to. He's a Man United player. If we sell him, we should get market value. If not, there's an Anthony-shaped hole that we know he can fill in a heartbeat. So that's kind of where I am. Anyone's got a problem with that, let me know. I don't care. I'm keeping it 100. You know what I mean? We ain't got no Ollie. We got no George to the Marv, blah, blah, blah.
You know what? I heard when you said that, I heard Ollie's voice ringing in my ears.
Saying, he'd be like, if that was someone else, you wouldn't say that. Yada yada yada. So
you're telling me that you would take that?
That's it, G. So Greenwood, Sancho, Fred, then Hag.
Fair enough.
But let's talk about, when you're talking about Hag, G, the other thing we got to talk about, our lack of ruthlessness is clear to see. Chelsea have made moves. You got your new, I don't know, is it official? It's official now, right? Or is it still?
It's not even official yet. Yeah.
But
I think they're negotiating with Leicester.
It's likely to be Enzo Maresca, right? How much do you know about him? Because I can't lie to you, G. Beyond him being the manager at Leicester, I didn't know much about him. So I took to the internet to find out. So let me read out a few things that I didn't know. Right?
Probably more than me.
Yeah. So he played for Sevilla. He worked under Pep, right? And he was part of he was the head coach of the elite development squad there at City where they won the Premier League 2 title. Fun fact, didn't even know there was a Premier League 2. Another Guardiola crony, and we'll get onto that a little bit later. Never got a cap for Italy, right? Multilingual. He played for West Bromwich Albion, so that shows the levels. You got to start there. He did play for Juve. He played for Fiorentina, Sevilla, Olympiacos, and I think it was assistant coach at Sevilla before going to be one of Pep's cronies, right? So he's done the bits, and then obviously more recently he's won the championship with Leicester, which I don't think is the massive feat. That was a pretty strong Leicester team that went down. And it might be that he's doing a Pep before the Pep, G, because obviously there's rumours that Leicester are gonna get some fineage, so he thought, I'm better out than in. And that could easily happen to Pep next season if the Premier League man up. But what's your view on it? Happy, sad?
I think it's terrible news on so many levels. Look, I hate to make prejudgments because, like I said, I don't know really much about him. I've saw Leicester play a few times this year, and honestly, like most of the times, they were effective, but they were really boring. It kind of gives me Sarri ball vibes, where we're going to just retain the ball for ages, but not do anything with it and not be incisive. And I'm watching a couple of years of that, like, sounds like hell. But I just think, like, generally with the ownership at Chelsea, like, everything they do, people think, oh, they must know something that no one else knows, like the 8-year contracts, getting rid of Poch. You think that there must be something that some method to their madness, but everything they do just gets stupider and stupider, and nothing actually comes to fruition. So I'm really worried about it. I don't think he's got the experience to kind of handle, a club of our size. I don't think he's got the players to execute on what his philosophy is. And
what is his philosophy? Is it possession ball? Is it like classic Pep? Yeah.
Well, Pep is quite incisive, right? So there is so it's a division of that. But if you speak to most Leicester fans, they actually said that they found it horrendously boring. And actually, a lot of the Leicester fans aren't even that upset that he's going. That's how you can tell. Like, I'm just not sure. I mean, for it to be a good move, I'd be really, really surprised. This just sounds really strange. And it's strange because things were actually looking up. Like, we'd got into the Europa League where, hey, Poch got 5 wins in a row. When the Europa League's taken away, the 5 wins in a row means nothing. And now we've got some guy who's never done anything as our manager. And this whole theory...
He won the championship, G. What did Potter do when you hired him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And look how that turned out. I'm just not convinced. And this whole thing, like you said about the cronies, like, if we are just going by, he's a Mikel Arteta region. First thing, Mikel Arteta hasn't won anything that I want to win. So let's be clear on that. But 2, that's just a stupid idea. And the club really needs to look at themselves if that's what they're doing.
I don't know. I mean, let me be clear. If you asked me to put money on who Chelsea were going to hire after Poch, he would have, like, I don't even know if he'd have been in my top 10, right?
No.
But that being said, one thing I think Chelsea fans should be excited about is the fact that they got some young talent there, right? He's worked with young talent before, and he might just be able to get them to gel. I mean, if you're him, you don't turn down this opportunity. You'd rather turn down this opportunity, get fired, and scuttle back to Pep, right? But you take the shot, right?
Oh, you definitely take the shot. But that thing about young players, like, yeah, he worked with young players in the City youth setup. And just for your information, Premier League 2 is the old under 21s management. It's under old 21s league. But yeah, he at Leicester, his record at using young players is actually quite poor. So he didn't really bring anyone through at Leicester as well. Like, there's just seems to be no method.
It's a risk though, G. You've got to bounce back up. The mandate would have been get promoted, So he can't double in youth right now. Do you know what I mean? Like he had to go tried and tested to get Leicester back up.
I hear it, but what I'm saying is where is the evidence that he's going to be the right man for the job? And I can't see any of it.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
I'm convinced by it. I'm willing to eat some humble pie and be proved right, but so far I haven't seen anything to convince me that he's the right man for the job.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, let's talk about the cronies though, because I was just thinking, like, Pep is like the Oxbridge of things on your resume, right? He's like, you got worked with Pep, and you seem to just get the job. Like you look at it, Arteta, Arsenal, right? And I mean, they've all done some junior stuff, some assistant stuff, but Arteta at Arsenal. Alonso obviously played underneath him at Bayern, although he's obviously looking really, really good. Xavi he played with, and Xavi played for him at Barca. He got the Barca job after doing some Saudi stuff, yeah. And then, I mean, the biggest shocker is Big Ed himself, Mr. Vincent Company, going from getting rallied at Burnley to now being the Bayern Munich manager. Like, is it lazy hiring here, G? Where they're like, well, if you work with Pep, then some of Pep must have rubbed off on him, or is it? Are the managers and the appointments valid in their own right?
Well, look, we've seen things like this happen before, right? I mean, Fergie had many of his minions kind of go and work. Not many of them successful. I mean, you're screwing up your face, but Steve Bruce, Phil Neville, Gary Neville, a lot of Roy Keane, a lot of Fergie's disciples got jobs.
They weren't top jobs though. They weren't top. Like Phil Neville, we're talking about MLS and England women's, right? And then we got what?
You're really trying to get yourself cancelled.
No, I'm just saying, you're going on like if Maresca gets England women's, we're not talking about it, right?
So Roy Keane got Sunderland.
Yeah.
Gary Neville got Valencia.
But the
Steve
Valencia
Bruce
thing, whoa. The Valencia thing had nothing to do with Fergie. That was his mate who was part owner or whatever, said come and do this for him, and he did it. But I don't think that was the Fergie factor. I just think that was the network factor, because the person, I can't remember the guy's name, but he also is one of the majority shareholders in Salford. So that was just mates. Brucey earned these stripes, man. Brucey did some terrible jobs.
Oh, did he? Did he earn these stripes?
He did, man. He did. So I'm not having it. I'm really not having it.
Yeah. So basically, the Manchester privileges just moved from United over to City, and that's fair enough. And people do look for to imitate what's been successful in the past, and I guess Arteta has kind of had relative success, depending on who you ask. So yeah, I definitely think there's an element of it, but I just also think there's an element of lack of options as well. Company wasn't the first choice, and he wasn't the 6th or 7th or 8th choice as well, from what I'm hearing. They were willing to actually take Tuchel back before they actually went for Company. So that's not a great sign on Company in itself. So yeah, I don't know whether it, and with Xabi Alonso, he was also managed by Rafa Benitez. I think he was managed by Jose for a period of time. So I wouldn't put that just down to him. But I definitely think Chelsea have gone on the Arsenal one and have been really lazy and kind of just stick to the manager because they think that's the the person who can kind of interpret the way Pep plays, and that doesn't work for me.
All right, fair. No, it's fair. And look, let me be honest, G. I'm happy in your misery. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where, to be honest with you, it's like you're talking about with Fergie. It's a mixed bag because no one could question Alonso, and as much as I dislike Arsenal and Arteta, let's not forget the turnaround he's managed to achieve there, right? Xavi was a bit dicey because that was just a calamity from beginning to end. 1 minute he was leaving, then they convinced him to stay. Is that the big one for me? And the jury's out. Is Company. I just can't fathom how a Vincent Company gets a buying job. Like I literally fell off my chair when I found it out. Like we're not talking someone that got promoted and kept him up, right? We're talking about someone that got promoted, got relegated, might have played decent football, but when Bayern, which I would say is arguably what top 5 managerial jobs in European football, world
Yep.
football maybe, like,
Yeah, maybe top three.
but it goes back to what you're saying, right? Like 6, 7 man turned them down, so eventually you got to land somewhere. Like if a few more turn downs, G, based on our football manager record, we might have been able to get a call. You know what I mean? So
I mean,
like,
that's failing up at its best, really. I mean, I don't know whether you could because he actually did a really impressive job of getting Burnley up in the first place. It's almost like if he had taken a break from football rather than trying to actually take them into the Prem, that people maybe we wouldn't be so annoyed with it. But it just doesn't it doesn't make any sense on an appointment, and I think probably one of the winners out of this situation is Tuchel because he could just make it look like these guys don't know what they're doing now. I think when Tuchel first got kicked out, it definitely looked like his stock was on the way down. But I could actually see Tuchel now getting a job at maybe even at your mother United and just saying, hey, like Bayern was a whole load of mess. I'm just happy to be somewhere that's more organised.
to be fair, like I think that's part of the reason why I'm saying Hag stays because there isn't a lot out there. But actually, out of the ones that I've mentioned, and obviously the clangers like Gareth Southgate, like if we ended up getting Tuchel, I don't know how I'd be okay with it. Like I think we're now in an era where you're not thinking about anyone long term. You're saying, what can somebody do for me in the next 2 to 3 seasons? I think Tuchel is a big enough character able to handle the prima donnas where he can get us playing a style of football which Hag has been unable to do. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But if Tuchel got it, I wouldn't be mad at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Southgate all the way. That's got to be the one. It's written in the stars.
That's a question though, G. Would you have taken Southgate over Maresca?
Oh no! I'll take you over Southgate.
It's weird. You know what's crazy to me is I never hear anyone saying anything different from what we're saying. I'm yet to meet a Man United fan that I'm like, no way on my Southgate, and then I'm yet to meet one that's just like, what? Like we need to recognize how good Southgate is. Like nobody's saying that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Southgate is like the unattractive girl that other girls have empathy for, right? Because you'll be talking with your female friend and you'll be like, oh, that girl's ugly. And they'll be like, no, she's not. She's beautiful. I said, you'll be like, oh, do you look like her? No, I don't look nothing like her. Like no one wants to diss Southgate, but no one wants Southgate at their club. No one wants to be at Southgate.
No, that's valid. That's valid because all of the people that are pro Southgate are people like you that just want to see our full descend even more. Like everyone that's got any street smarts about them would not want that. So yeah, so that's it.
Like George backed Southgate to the high hills, but if he was at the Emirates with that red scarf around his neck, he'd be fuming.
Yeah, man. Southgate would be a bad outcome. All right, cool. Shall we move on, G?
Yeah, let's move it.
Before we get onto doc stuff, I just wanted to give a big shout out in terms of my sleepless nights. The NBA's hotting up. The Mavs versus the Boston Celtics, and I just want to give a big call out to the fact that I'm just glad that there's that the Mavs have made it, and the fact that LeBron and Harden and KD and Golden State and Curry, all of this hoo-dee-ha is we're looking at the Celtics. Mavs. Celtics have been there before, but I'm excited about that. This might be the first time ever that I'm gonna be back in a Dallas team, so I'm excited. I think the playoffs kick off or tee off tonight, maybe 1:30 tonight or something. So that will be good, and we'll see how that all plays out.
Yeah, do you remember when I got to a B-ball game earlier on in the year? Do you remember where that was, Marv?
Was it in Dallas?
It was the Mavs, Marv. It was the Mavs. So if they win it, then I've got to go down as the lucky charm.
Okay. I mean, this is just classic you and Shameless. Only you would want to to brag about that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really not necessary, but you know, it's what it is. I'm hoping they win it because I hate the Celtics, really hate them. So we'll see how it goes. And the East has been terrible. Right, G, let's talk about documentaries. We watched it a while ago. We've just been so packed and we've had such packed agendas. We haven't had enough time to talk about it. But we watched Full Swing, the golfing documentary. It's like the golf version of Drive to Survive, right? Yeah. Now we cheated because I will go back and watch the first season, but we cheated and started with the second season. What did you think?
I actually really enjoyed it. Like they done an immaculate job in making it probably the most boring sport interesting.
I knew you were going to say that.
No disrespect to the golf fans, but yeah, no, it was great. I like all of that. I didn't really realize how deep that like live golf versus the PGA beef went, and it was really interesting to find out about it. I just feel. I don't know. I've got to watch to the end, and maybe I'm kind of cheating here, but I want to know: does Rory get paid at the end? Because if he doesn't get his money, and they just go and harmonize and join up, like he's just going to look like a clown at the end of it.
Well, what define money, right? Like he's still on the tour, and he's still winning championships, but he ain't getting live money. Like no one's getting live money.
Well, that's the thing. If I don't get my live money and you fold, then I'm going to be furious.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like honestly, we've watched a few docs since we've been doing the pod, right? And this is probably the first where I couldn't stop. Like I watched the first one and I was totally bought into it because I think it was that balance of me knowing golf at surface level, but not really knowing golf. And to see like some of the turmoil that some of the players, you got the Fitzpatrick brothers where one of them's like top draw, one of them is terrible, well not terrible, but just not of that level. It's like Gary Neville all over again. And then you had the Live PGA stuff, the Rory turmoil, and the Ryder Cup stuff was juicy. You know what I mean? Where, there was a bit where Rory was beefing one of the caddies, and it was odds on that the US were gonna stonk it because they brought Live Man in, and and Europe didn't for the PGA. Like it was top draw. Like I honestly enjoyed it, even when they were picking the Ryder Cup, and they picked based on like history rather than. I think all in all it was well put together. People tell me that the first season is not as good as the second season. It's like perfect storm. You know how we had Littler for that darts show that's going to come up? It's a perfect storm because they had Ryder Cup plus Live. Like they had a good balance there, but I think it's up there with maybe the top 3-4 things we've watched so far.
Yeah. I would actually think I'd say top 3 easily.
Yeah, fair. So come on, give me clicks. How many clicks you giving it?
You know what? George's not here.
How much of it did you watch?
I watched the first 3 of the first, and then I watched the first one of the second. Okay. Just to kind of to be so. Yeah. I actually, based on what I've seen, I actually want to go for 4.5 clicks. I don't think I'd give it 5 because that would be perfect. But I actually think just because it's got me into a sport that I passively watched before just because I didn't find it interesting. So actually to kind of get you in, that's the aim of a doc, right? So yeah, I'd go 4.5. Yeah,
I mean, I won't go. I'm gonna still live by no halves, so I'm gonna give it 4. But it's really, really up there, and it was really well shot, and I think it really showed, like the individual sports are kind of quite lonely. Do you know what I mean, G? Like whether you're playing golf or tennis, or even when you're in the Formula One car, like there's no teammate to lean on. There's no, he didn't pass me the ball, or that player was injured. It's you versus someone else. And actually, I really like the way that the show exposed that to us. And there was a couple of glimpses that we saw in regards to people's mental health and them being a bit off. Because me not watching the first season, there was one of the golfers who he obviously was like a star from the first season, and now like in the second season, he's not really that good. And they were talking about him going to see someone. Ricky Fowler started seeing someone. Like, it's really important, and obviously the timing of this conversation is poignant because the news not too long ago, I think it happened this week, is obviously Grayson Murray, a golfer that was on the PGA Tour, sadly took his own life, and it goes back to the conversations that we had with George when George was all of a sudden a massive Dele Alli fan because of the mental health situation. But between that and even going back as far as Gary Speed and just the way that they humanized it, I think is so important. Because even me, G, and I've said it on pods before, right? Like, I have seen players as commodities, right? I've seen them as you perform. I haven't necessarily always given them the credit of thinking these are individuals. These are people getting abused regularly on social media, who are being stalked, who have to worry about whether their house is safe when they're playing away. And I honestly don't know the intricacies of what happened with Grayson Murray, but just watching the show, watching the struggle, watching how sometimes you're just in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of, you can't force your way out of it. Without talking to somebody, the descent just continues. It really helped me to sort of take stock. Like, I've officially unfollowed Anthony. Like, I'm not going to give him any like it's that deep, G, where it's really quite sad.
Yeah. We we have to take care of ourselves, but we have to take care of others as well. And it's you should never ever think. I like we said, we don't know the exact reasons, but I would hate to think it was behind playing a sport or just around like your career or work overall. That's just not something anyone ever wants to go through.
Yeah, and I think ultimately it's one of the. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch the first season, and actually I watched a bit of one of the tours, and obviously we talked about it before with Scheffler getting arrested for like.
That would be good on this one.
It seems like golf is zhuzhing up a bit, right? Generally,
yeah.
Like, there's general interest. I don't know if they'll cover the Murray thing, but for me, I just saw it as a very boring old man sport that people played in retirement years. They went on lads' holidays, drank beer, and played golf. But it's definitely it's made it very multifaceted, and the mental health issue just shows you, regardless of the sport, when it's you versus everyone else, and it's just yourself, how important it is to get that support that you need. So yeah, I mean, four clicks is very valid.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So now it's time for
what you talking about, Willis? Hello.
Oh, G.
Who's done it this time?
Gee, the thing is, and I've got to get some notes out here because it's been one of those weeks.
Oh, it's drawing for the notes. Oh man!
Like, there's a couple of minors. There's a couple of minors, but we'll get into it, right? One of them is really minor, but the Dutch FA posted a congratulations on Insta for Malacia winning an FA Cup. So they've got a picture of Malacia, who's hardly been capped for Holland. Let's just add that, right? He's got a few caps, but we're not talking Van Dijk numbers here. And G, he didn't play one FA Cup game. I think he played like half a game of the whole season. And there was many rumours that he was dead. Or that he was that he was a snitch for Promes, the guy in Russia. Like, he snitched on him and had to go into Witsec. Like, I can't believe that the Dutch FA thought that was the right thing to do, given how missing he had been. Like, it's crazy. So, honourable mention to them or their social media manager. The other one that is amazing to me is, did you see Peter Crouch's comments on Lookman, who scored a hat-trick for Atalanta against Alonso's Leverkusen? He basically said, he's probably regretting not hanging on for England by going to Nigeria. Like, it was, I don't know, G. There was something about it. It definitely wasn't racist. I think I just found it extremely ignorant. Like, man explodes and shows out, right, on a top stage, a competition that you're not going to be in next year, and he goes down that route. Like, I thought it was poor taste. I think it's England ignorance, and at the end of the day, even if Crouchy felt like that, I think the message should be, you know what? Congratulations to Lookman, who's had some ups and downs in his career, but he pulled out a superstar performance, scoring a hat-trick in the final.
And maybe, wow, England missed out on him rather than the other way around. But yeah, that's definitely certain people's attitudes. I think, to be honest, the whole way that Lookman has been covered over this thing has been shocking, really. Because I remember like seeing like, you know, one of those like images like after the game where it gives you like the score like 3-0, and like Lookman was like a sky one, and Lookman wasn't even on the front of the image, and he got a hat trick. like how does that work? Like, I just think he's been totally overlooked in terms of this. So yeah, I agree with that one. That could have been the one.
It's not just a hat trick; it's a victory against a team that had been unbeaten. Yeah. So for you to not say credit, I think the exact terminology was, if he'd have been a bit more patient. I just found that really, really poor form overall. So that's it. But those two honourable mentions, G, it's we're not going to get many opportunities to do this, so I'm going to take my shot while I can. But I'm going to give it to someone that's not in the sporting world at all. Right? Oh, wow. I'm going to give it to somebody who should leave sport to sports people. Did you see our Commander-in-Chief, Rishi Sunak, at the school?
Oh, man.
Did you see it, G? Man can't even dribble in and out of cones. But, G, that's not my problem.
I know what your problem is.
What's my problem?
Go on, I don't want to ruin your thunder. You get there.
No, I don't think you do know my problem. My problem is, right, don't do it if you can't do it. Right? Like, there's no pressure on you to do it. It's the same with, do you remember many, many moons ago on the campaign trail when Boris was doing rugby and he took out a small child?
Oh, I remember that.
Like for me, it's like, I don't know about you, G, but the country's crumbling around my ears, right? So I get you've got a campaign, but campaign about the stuff that I'm really concerned about, like the economy, the NHS, the fact that you think it's a good idea to send kids into national service. Those are the issues that are important. You trying to dubs up a cone and then losing control of it is just really bad form. And I feel like the people around him are just not advising him well, right? Like, it was terrible from beginning to end. I think he had an underlying thing about, investing in sport in schools. And we had Jono on many, many pods ago when he was telling us that, like, cricket's almost disappearing from the face of sport within the schools. So all of that together was just nonsensical. I'm giving it for the poor techers, the poor advice, and the fact that really, Rishi, I would prefer you to deal with the issues that are closer than you able to dribble within a cone. So for the first time, I think in Willis history, the Willis goes to a politician, Rishi Sunak. Do you disagree?
Thoroughly deserved. Didn't he also go to Wales and say, I bet you guys are looking forward to the Euros?
I forgot about that. That's a man so out of touch. But the thing is, you know what? I heard it. I didn't see it. What did you actually see the video? Because I'd love to have seen. I haven't seen it. I'd love to have seen what the reaction was like within the room. Like, the guy, you know what? The rumor is he wants out. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to run. So he's just calling a snap election, counting his wife's money that she probably tax evaded in the first place, and then he'll let someone else try and get the country back up to code. But yeah, Rishi, between your dribble game and your inability to know that Wales didn't qualify, you're the Willis of the week. Right, so that's it. Short and sweet. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. You've been blessed today with just me and G. But thank you for watching Not for Clicks.